Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Rentz, your host of the Raiders Report. And coming up on today's show, we're going to be looking at the Raiders UDFA, and I'm going to be breaking down their grades. Here's the thing. I am not going to give a critical grade on any UDFA player because at the end of the day, you're looking for somebody that you could potentially add to your practice squad. There are, though, a few dudes that I do think could end up making this 53-man roster, so those grades are going to be a little bit higher compared to some of the ones out there. Before we get into the UDFAs, though, if you haven't seen the Raiders draft class, well, then maybe you live underneath a rock. I also dropped a video late last night about my Raiders 2024 draft class grades. If you want to go check that out, that link's going to be available to you all down in the comments and in the description of today's show. Long story short, Antonio Pierce, Tom Telesco, I thought absolutely crushed this draft. Probably one of the best drafts I've seen by this Raiders team in a long time. Hell, I think it's the best Raiders draft since 2014 when Khalil Mack and Derek Carr were selected. For Raiders videos all off season long, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn on that notification bell every time we drop a video. I want you to be in the loop. I know that now we're starting to get into that off season, May, June, and July, but here's real talk. If you're watching the Raiders Report in May, June, and July, that's how I know that you're a real one. Just because it's the NFL offseason, there are no off days here at the Raiders Report. You're going to get videos every single day. We're going to be live at least 3 times a week. We're going to be doing Madden-style watch parties. We have a lot of fun here in the offseason. So if you enjoyed today's video, hey, make sure you pull up with us here all offseason long. All right, so here's how we're going to do this. We're going to go through the Raiders UDFAs. I'm going to start on the offensive side of the football, and then I'm going to go to the defensive side as we roll through these 17 guys here. First name coming up is Carter Bradley, quarterback from South Alabama, and the grade that I'm going to give him is a B grade. Remember, A is excellent, B is good, C is average. I'm going to be real. I'm not going to go anything below that just because they are UDFAs. He had a 63% completion percentage last season, or for his career, 8,372 passing yards, 61 touchdowns, 27 interceptions. Also with a lot of UDFAs, I look at the money side of it. $25,000 bonus with $125,000 guaranteed. So usually the more money talks, the more confident that the Raiders are. Bradley's going to be battling it out, I would say, with Anthony Brown for that third QB spot here on this roster. Let's go to offensive guard Clark Barrington out of Baylor. This one is a C grade to me. I'm going to have to watch a little bit more tape on some of these players. I didn't see some of the money aspect sides of it when it came to a guy like Barrington. I mean, again, 6 sacks, 48 pressures. He had 1,893 pass blocking snaps. Predominantly has played left guard, so you're looking at somebody that could potentially be that backup to Jackson Powers-Johnson, backup to Cody Whitehair. He's going to be battling it out for a roster spot. Another name to keep in mind here is Andrew Coker, which they did give him some money. They gave him $95,000 guaranteed, a $20,000 bonus on top of that. 10 sacks, 78 pressures, has predominantly played right tackle. However, some people view him as a potential swing, both sides. This, I would say, is a battle for Dalton Wagner. Let's go to another center here. We got Will Putnam. This is another C grade for me. Putnam got $10,000 in bonus, $60,000 guaranteed, 7 sacks allowed, 46 pressures off of close to 2,000 pass blocking snaps. Has mainly played center, close to center, right guard. Mix that one in there a little bit, Will, on top of that. I'm going to say Putnam, him, and Coker. You're looking at also, again, a guy like Barrington probably going to be battling it out for that practice squad spot. I'm going to get into some more players here on the offensive side of the football, but I got to give a shout-out to Mando. I'll tell you this, if you sound like me, you better smell good. It's the only way you're getting a date. That's a guarantee. Use code CHAT for $5 off your starter pack. I love Mando because it's a whole body deodorant. Mando is seriously safe to use anywhere on your body. Pits, packages, grundle, balls, belly button, butt cracks, stinky crevices, stomach folds, feet, wherever you want to do it. Raider Nation, control body odor anywhere with Mando and get $5 off your starter pack. That's over 40% off with promo code CHAT at shopmando.com. I've always had smelly feet. I sweat a lot when I do this show. I sweat a lot in general. I'm not afraid to admit that. And sometimes when I go home, Alex gives me a big hug. I open up my arms, and she's like, damn, you need some deodorant. Luckily, these past few days of the NFL draft, I've been using Mando a lot. Y'all have seen me use it up on screen, and I haven't gotten that remark, so I guess I'm doing the right things. Also, I got a discount code to help you get hooked on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to 40% off your starter pack. So again, use code CHAT at shopmando.com. That's SHOPMANDO.com. Shout out to Mando for sponsoring the Raiders Report. Let's go to Ramel. Keyton here, wide receiver from Tennessee, 6'3", 210 pounds. He's 86 catches, close to 1,500 yards, does run that 4.5 40 speed. I gave him a B grade because I want to see how he ends up fitting with some of these other receivers, because when you look at a lot of the other guys that he's going to be potentially battling it out with, can he beat out a dude like Christian Wilkerson? We'll see what happens. Next name coming up here, and this is probably my favorite one out of the receiver group, Griffin, and some people call him Tulu, so we're going to go with Tulu Griffin here. This is an A grade. I know for a fact that the Raiders are pretty fired up about him. He's 5'10", probably around 180, 185 pounds, had 126 grabs, close to 1,500 yards, 9 touchdowns. But it's his special teams ability, had close to 1,700 kick return yards, 2 touchdowns on 54 attempts. He's got legit 4.4 speed. So Tulu Griffin, I'm keeping my eye on you, man. Let's go to Jake Johanning, grade A. This is somebody that had a top 30 visit with the silver and black, was one of the best offensive linemen at the FCS level. I think he won like the award, or won an award like 3 straight years. He can play guard. He can play center. Is a little bit undersized. I would like for him to be able to bulk up a little bit. But the fact that the Raiders had this guy on their radar, they also gave him $105,000 of guaranteed money, $25,000 signing bonus. So that tells me that they're pretty high on him. Next name coming up here is Jeff Foreman, wide receiver from Arkansas State. I gave him a B grade. They gave him $10K in a bonus with $55,000 guaranteed. So maybe that tells you a little bit of what they think of a player like him. 104 catches, over 2,067 yards, 13 touchdowns at his career at Arkansas State. Legit speed, though. Another guy that gives you some special teams value, 4.35, 40-yard speed. So from top to bottom there, that's all the Raiders' offensive UDFAs. What I want to know from all of you down below is, who's your favorite? I would say that the Raiders' favorites, just based on the monetary value. Like, I'm not going to look at the quarterback, because just usually the QB gets a little bit more. And for those that do not know, Carter Bradley is the son of former Raiders DC Gus Bradley. But they have that expression, money talks, and the money that is talking the most for these players, I'm going to say that they're most excited about Jake Johanning. I'm probably the most excited about Tulu Griffin on the offensive side of the football. Let's now make our way to the defensive side, because the Raiders were pretty split on their UDFAs that they signed on the offensive side of the football and on the defensive side of the football. One name that's really intriguing to me is Noah Shannon, defensive tackle from Iowa. He was suspended this past season, so didn't really get much work. Grade, I'm going to give it a B. Missed the 2023 season again of self-imposed suspension, so you're putting this young man here in Vegas. He needs to have his head on straight. 107 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks. Mainly more of a run stopper. Is a little bit undersized, though, at DT. Let's go to the next name here, Ron Stone Jr. This is one of my more players that I'm pretty excited about to see how he ends up translating at that next level here for UDFAs. 20,000 signing bonus, 170,000 in guaranteed money, 201 tackles, 31.5 tackles for loss, 16 sacks. This player, I think, is going to be the Adam Plant Jr., a guy that the team falls in love with a lot. We'll see if he's able to make this one work. But the Raiders gave him a lot of guarantees. They gave him some good money on top of that. So they're obviously curious to see what he ends up looking like. Next name coming up here we're going to get into is Phalen Sanford. I'm going to give this one a C grade. Can play a little bit of safety here. 25 special teams tackles, 2 tackles for a loss. I think you're realistically just looking for more depth here at this position. Doesn't offer you a lot from an athletic standpoint, but again, if you can get somebody that is the best special teams player, like out of all 17 of these UDFAs that the Raiders sign, if you're the guy that can play special teams the best out of 17, I might make the argument that you have the best shot of making this roster. So again, I'm not going to sit up here and act like I've watched a lot of tape on Phalen Sanford, and hopefully that he ends up making this team, because shit, that means that we're doing the right things as a coaching staff then. I do want to give you guys some updates on when Chugs and I are going to be live this week. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern time is our schedule. I am moving on Wednesday and on Friday, so Raiders Friday happy hour is going to be Thursday this week. So tune in for Monday, Tuesday. We're going to be doing some jersey giveaways courtesy of John Scheffler and all the other crazy people from the draft. So a lot of fun stuff happening this week on the Raiders Report. All right, we're going to keep it rocking here. We're going back to the defense. Another player that was a top 30 visit for the Silver and Black on defense, Amari Gainer, and this is a player that I'm pretty excited about for UDFAs. I'm going to give this one an A grade. The name that he kind of reminds me of for Raider fans is the Drake Thomas, where another player that we were really fired up about, and Gainer doesn't have the best athletic traits, but does always seem to find himself around the football. 237 tackles at his career at North Carolina, 8.5 sacks. I like his shuffle time of 4.32. 4.6 40-yard dash, does have a decent win rate as well. 74.3 QBR against him. He's also going to be playing next to his buddy and teammate Tomari Fox. This is a C grade for me. I got to watch a little bit more film here on Tomari, and what's tough for him is the Raiders' defensive tackle group is one of the most stacked units that they have, so we'll see how he ends up fighting for just one of those spots. TJ Franklin is another player that we're going to throw out here, edge from Baylor. It's a B grade, 126 tackles, 27 tackles for loss, 84 pressures over his career with the Baylor Bears. Some good numbers from top to bottom. It's a B grade. Demarcus Governor, maybe my favorite name. He goes by Woo. We're going to give this one a B grade as well. 85.1 quarterback rating against him. 123 tackles, 4 INTs, 11 PBUs at his time at the University of Northern Iowa. Jaquan Sheppard, this is somebody that we've talked about actually a few times here on the show, was a top 30 visit. The Raiders, from what I'm being told, are very, very fired up about him. And yesterday, I talked about some of these UDFA signings. I would say that the Raiders are the most fired up here about Sheppard because, again, money talks, $25,000 bonus. The most money that the Raiders gave to a UDFA was Sheppard at $230,000 guaranteed. I want to say that's top 20 UDFA money. So Sheppard, a former Maryland player, teammates with Ja'Cory and Bennett. This is a guy to watch very, very closely this offseason. Let's go to another name here in the final name, Rayshad Williams, cornerback from Texas Tech. Got a C grade on him, 106.1 quarterback rating against him, 136 tackles, 26 PBUs, only 1 interception. The ball skills from some people that I talked to that are really big Texas Tech fans maybe aren't 100% there, but he does seem like he does some good technical stuff. Did give up 14 touchdowns at his time in college. So who's the best defensive UDFA player that the Raiders end up signing? To me, I look at a guy like Jaquan Sheppard. You have to, based off that money. Amari Gainer is a name, and then Ron Stone are the top 3 UDFA defensive guys that I'm looking at for the Silver and Black. If you're watching UDFA videos, hey, man, I know that you're a freaking real one. If you want even more content around the Raiders, follow me on IG, follow me on Twitter at MitchellReds365. Luckily over there, I don't sound like this. We had a lot of fun over the past 3-4 days here on the show. Close to 2 million views in total from Jeremy Chugs and I. And I know you can't see Chugs, but from me, from Jeremy Chugs, seriously, shout out to all y'all for the continuous support. This is an amazing family that we have here on the Raiders Report. Enjoy your Sunday. Watch a little NBA basketball. I know Chuck and I are gonna.